the thing about designing free-to-play purchases and purchases in general, so we encourage players to feel great about their purchase and have it be a positive experience, is a challenging question for a couple reasons. And the first is because of best practices, where a certain few companies had huge success doing things a certain way, which was friction-based monetization, right? I'm paying to make the pain go away, which works. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. I think that to a large extent is kind of married to the crazy assumption in the free-to-play world right now that the average lifespan of a player is 3 months, which is just crazy when you look at EverQuest going into its 15th year, right? It's ludicrous that we would consider discarding a customer from a game after only 3 months. So I think those two are really married together. And unfortunately, a lot of the things that lead to that churn cycle are considered best practices now, and it's hard to not do them, right? So it's hard to find an environment in which you have the ability to say, let's try something different. So I think my first part of my answer is that that's hampering our development. But the second part of the answer is that it's so challenging now for game companies themselves to stay afloat that I think even the people who are willing to take risks either fold because they didn't have the time to see it through. You're not going to get it right the first time or the 5th time or even the 10th time, right? It takes a lot of time to tune a game, unless you're really lucky, so it's making money reliably. So they don't have the runway to be able to make those choices. So either they fold or they fall back on those best practices and go back to friction-based monetization. And there are a few ways around that, though, and the example that I'd give is Valve. So I went to Steam Dev Days and saw some great talks from Valve, and at Valve, a part of their core philosophy of microtransactions is based around player regret. So if a player makes a purchase and he has any regret for that purchase at all, day of, week of, month of, sometimes even 3 months down the road, if he showed any regret, it's gone. They don't do it. They don't question it. They don't look at the numbers and say, well, how bad is it, right? How angry does it make him? There's none of that. It's just gone, right? So that's their philosophy. And they found, based on that philosophy, ways that you can have players monetize that not only are they happy, but every other player in the game with them is happy. So it gets around the other problem of, oh, that guy paid and that's why he's winning and this is crap, right? So it's an elegant solution. And what was disappointing to me coming out of Steam Dev Days is a lot of developers, when I talked to them about this in the free-to-play space, would say, well, they can afford to do that because they're Valve. Sure, they had the runway, right? They had the money to do that. But that doesn't mean you can't benefit from their experience and use their knowledge. So I think a part of the key is to find the people who have the runway to do those kinds of experiments and then try to carry it forward the next small steps in your game. And if you feel like you have to have some of those best practices, try to offset it, right? Try to at least make it balanced. So we're not only making money from people relieving the pain, we're also making money from people buying each other presents, right? Or doing things that make them feel like, awesome, that was the best money I ever spent, right? And so maybe we can at least be a little more balanced, even if we can't go all the way toward player happiness.